Hey everyone, and welcome to NFL Nexus. Today we're doing a deep dive into the Tennessee Titans front office because they're laying out a fascinating two-part blueprint for building a contender. And this strategy really gets to the core of one of the biggest questions in all of football. And honestly, the way they're tackling it is a masterclass for any team trying to build a winner.
Okay, let's get right into the heart of it because this is the ultimate team builder's dilemma. It's the question that keeps GMs up at night. In a league with a hard salary cap, every single dollar is a choice. Do you put your money, your security, into the sure things, the guys you already have, the ones you've seen prove it on the field, or do you take that capital and roll the dice in the draft, chasing that next explosive superstar who could literally change the trajectory of your franchise? Well, for the Titans, they're not picking one or the other. They're doing both at the same time, and it is an absolutely compelling strategy to watch play out.
All right, so let's break down part one of this master plan. The first step of any strong strategy is to secure your foundation. You gotta build your house on solid ground, right? This is that classic inside-out philosophy. If you can win in the trenches, everything else just gets a whole lot easier. For the Titans, that means looking inward, identifying their own elite, homegrown talent and locking them down, starting right in the heart of that offensive line.
And they have made a major move to do exactly that. They've looked at the roster and they've identified guard Peter Skoronski as not just a good player, not just a starter, but an absolute cornerstone of what they want to be. And they have made it crystal clear that this key piece of their offensive line is not going anywhere. You have to understand, this isn't just a simple transaction. It's a statement. It's them planting a flag and saying, this is who we're building around. This is step one, and it's the move that really unlocks everything else they want to do.
So you might be asking, how did they do this? Well, they used a really interesting tool called the fifth-year option. Now, this is a powerful little mechanism that's built right into the league's collective bargaining agreement, but it's only for first-round picks. It basically gives teams an extra year of control over their most successful draft picks. Think of it like this. It lets them have a fifth full season to evaluate a player before they have to commit to one of those massive, market-setting long-term extensions. It's a huge strategic advantage, and the Titans just cashed it in on Peter Skoronski.
And this number right here, this just perfectly illustrates the team's commitment. This is not some cheap, easy move. The projected cost just to keep Skoronski for that one season in 2027 is going to be over $19 million. Now think about that. In a league where quarterbacks and edge rushers are getting all the headlines and all the money, to commit that kind of cash to an interior offensive lineman, well, it sends a crystal clear message. They view him as a foundational piece, an elite player at his position, and absolutely central to their entire offensive identity. So who is this guy they're investing in so heavily? Well, Peter Skoronski was the 11th overall pick back in 2023. He's only 24 years old, and get this, in his first 2 years in the league, he has started every single game. That's 34 straight starts. In the brutal, unforgiving world of the NFL offensive line, that kind of availability is worth its weight in gold. Seriously, it means consistency for the quarterback, it means continuity for the running game, and it gives you a reliable anchor that the rest of the line can build around. He's become an absolutely critical, non-negotiable part of their offense. So the bottom line here is pretty simple. By picking up his option, the Titans have solidified their interior line for the foreseeable future. They've basically put a big, fat check mark next to the left guard position on their to-do list. It signals stability, it signals strength right up the gut. But more importantly, it allows them to pivot their focus. They've now freed up all the mental and financial capital they would have spent worrying about that spot, so they can turn their full attention elsewhere. That's part one of the plan, locked, loaded, and secured. So, with that foundation poured and the concrete setting on the offensive line, where do the Titans turn next? Well, that brings us to part two, and this is where the strategy really starts to build. With that foundational piece on the inside totally secure, the front office can now turn its full attention to the other side of the ball, to hunting for explosive, game-changing talent on the outside. This is where the strategy shifts from keeping your own guys to aggressively going out and getting new ones. And this slide right here really shows the whole strategy in a nutshell. You have to look at these two things together to get the full picture. On one side, you've got the certainty, the stability of the Skoronski deal. He's a known quantity, a proven asset. On the other side, you have the speculative, but absolutely necessary, hunt for an elite pass rusher. See, by paying for security on one side of the ball, they've bought themselves the freedom to be aggressive and aim really high on the other. It's this beautiful, calculated balance of risk and reward. And folks, that weakness, it's pretty clear to anyone who watches this team. It's that one missing ingredient that can hold a good defense back from being truly great. The team needs more firepower.
They need more pure, unadulterated fear coming off the edge to get after the opposing quarterback and wreck the other team's game plan. And when you look at their current depth chart at the position, you see exactly why it's such a huge priority. Now, don't get me wrong, they have some solid pieces. Jermaine Johnson II, who they got in a trade, is a quality starter. And they have really high hopes for Olu Oladejo, their second-round pick from last year, to take a big step forward. But what's missing? It's that dominant game-wrecking force. It's that alpha dog who commands double teams and makes everyone else's job 10 times easier. And that is almost certainly what GM Mike Borgonzi and this front office are going to be looking for in the 2026 draft. So what exactly are they looking for? You know, every team has needs, but the smartest teams, they have a specific profile in mind. They don't just draft a position, they draft a player who fits their scheme, their culture, and their coaching philosophy like a glove. And it turns out head coach Robert Saleh, well, he has a very, very specific type. And this detail right here is absolutely fascinating. It's what's known around the league as the Saleh prototype, and it boils down to two main things. You have to have explosiveness off the snap, and you have to hit this key physical measurement, an arm length of at least 33 inches. Now, why does that one little detail matter so much? Well, it's basically physics. Longer arms allow a pass rusher to make contact with the offensive tackle first. It's like having a longer reach in a boxing match. You get to land the first punch, which gives you control and leverage. It helps you keep those 300-pound linemen off your body and creates a wider radius to shed blocks and get to the quarterback. And if you look at the guys Saleh has had the most success with, like Nick Bosa or even their own Jermaine Johnson, they all fit this mold. For this team, it's not a suggestion. It's a non-negotiable prerequisite. So with that prototype burned into our minds, let's take a look at the draft board. The Titans are projected to be picking high around the number 4 spot, which puts them in a prime position to get one of the very best pass rushers in the entire class. And a name you are going to hear connected to them constantly is David Bailey from Texas Tech. On paper, Bailey is pretty much the perfect fit. First off, you just can't argue with the production. He led all of college football with 14.5 sacks last season. That's not just good, that's elite. But it's how he gets those sacks. He has that exceptional, twitchy first step that Saleh's entire defensive scheme is built on, which allows him to threaten the edge of the offensive line instantly. And of course, critically, he checks that 33-inch arm length box. The guy has all the tools, the speed to win on the outside, the length to win with leverage, and the production to back it all up. He is just tailor-made for this defense and could be an immediate game-changing force from day one. But hey, as any good GM knows, you can't fall in love with just one guy in the draft. You always have to have contingency plans. So what if they go a different direction in round 1? What's plan B? Well, in the second round, the focus could shift to a player who brings a slightly different but maybe equally effective style to the table, Zion Young out of Missouri. Now, Zion Young is a really interesting prospect because he's a different flavor of pass rusher. Where a guy like Bailey wins with that flashy speed, Young wins with pure, raw, brute force power. He's a bull in a china shop who just collapses the pocket by driving tackles straight back into the quarterback's lap. He put up some really impressive numbers in the SEC, with 6.5 sacks and a massive 16.5 tackles for loss. And crucially, he also fits that all-important arm-length prototype. But here's the key detail. The team has already shown major interest by bringing him in for a top 30 visit. Now, teams only get 30 of those in-person workouts, so to use one on Young tells you their interest is very, very real.
Okay, so what if the draft board falls funny? What if they decide to use those premium picks on other positions? If they decide to wait until day 2 of the draft, well, a local prospect from right there in their own backyard at the University of Tennessee could be the answer in the 3rd round. Let's talk about Joshua Josephs.
Josephs is what a lot of scouts would call a high-floor prospect. He's an experienced player who's been consistently productive in the toughest conference in college football, the SEC. He has the long arms and a good power base that checks the boxes for Saleh's scheme. And look at this stat, 3 forced fumbles. That shows a real knack for making those game-changing impact plays. He may not have the super high elite ceiling of a David Bailey, but he's seen as a very safe, low-risk pick who you can plug into your rotation on day 1 and get reliable, solid production from. And you know, this is what separates a great draft plan from just a good one. It's depth. The hunt for talent doesn't stop after the first few rounds. As you can see here, the Titans have identified potential targets at every level of the draft. This isn't just about finding one player, it's about rebuilding an entire room. They've got options like LT Overton from Alabama, a bigger, battle-tested body for the 4th round. They've got high-potential athletes with the perfect build like George Gumbs Jr. in the 5th. The key takeaway here is that they have a plan for every single scenario, ensuring they can add talent to that position no matter how the draft board falls. So let's bring it all together. Let's zoom out and really look at the big picture here. We've seen the two distinct parts of this plan, right? What does this dual focus strategy really mean for the future of the Tennessee Titans? Well, it's a logical two-step blueprint for sustainable success. It's so simple, it's brilliant. Step one, secure your core. You identify the foundational pillars that you've already drafted and developed in-house, like Peter Skoronski, and you lock them down. You build a stable, reliable interior. Then, step two, you draft for need. With that core completely secured, you can now use your most valuable assets, your high draft picks, to go aggressively hunt for those explosive, game-changing pieces you're missing, like that elite edge rusher. It's just a beautifully balanced approach. It reduces your risk by investing in a known commodity, a player who is already thriving in your system. But it doesn't make you conservative. At the same time, it allows the team to swing for the fences in the draft, targeting those high-impact, high-ceiling players at premium positions. It's all about building a balanced roster that is constructed to win not just now, but in the future, creating a sustainable window where you can compete for a championship year after year. So in the end, this methodical, two-pronged approach, it shows a really clear vision from the front office. They are securing the inside so they can go hunt on the outside. The blueprint is there. The only question left is the most important one of all. Will this be the strategy that finally pays off and brings a Super Bowl title to Tennessee? What do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let us know down in the comments which edge rusher you think the Titans should target. And hey, be sure to subscribe to NFL Nexus so you don't miss any of our future breakdowns. And do us a favor and like this explainer if you found it useful. And before you go, you can also help support the channel by purchasing our coloring books. They're actually perfect for all ages. Kids, grandkids, even adults find them relaxing. You can check them out using the link in the description or by scanning the QR code on your screen right now. We really do appreciate all the support. Thanks for watching.